Hunker Junk says, you own your own apartment, you pay 0 rent, no mortgage, you have loads of money. Should you quit your job? You want to play WoW all day, take long walks, see friends, and work out. That makes me happy. Why should I be chained by a job? Hunk, if you can... Look, the only reason people go to work is to get the money to facilitate and to fund their life. If you're able to do that without going to work, then absolutely do that. That's entirely up to you. You just live your life as a full-time socialite. But do remember, and this is going to sound really weird, people do need a purpose. As soon as you lose that purpose, you lose something. If you are able... A lot of people find... They don't like to admit it, but a lot of people find purpose from their job. If you have... To just make that sound better, have any of you ever taken a really long holiday from your job and the first, week is amazing, and then after that you're like, I'm kind of bored now? Because that's happened before. I know people that have got really bloody difficult jobs, they've taken a long holiday, and halfway through that holiday, they've actually said that there's a weird thing that happens when they wake up and don't know what to do. Some of you say no, some of you say absolutely. I would say if you are able to find the internal motivation to give each of your days purpose, then yeah, sure, quit. Do whatever you need to do. If you want to find the internal motivation to quit and go and live your best life, you do that. Yeah, I mean, the only reason that you'd work is to facilitate your life. You were a stay-at-home mum for a year and you hated it. You need structure to be productive. If you can find... I mean, some people do need structure. Some people prefer the randomness of doing whatever the hell they want to do. What is the purpose of a job? Why do you go to work? And ultimately, why do you exchange your time for money? Now, some people work a job that they don't particularly like because it pays really well. Some people do a job that they enjoy and therefore take less pay from it. Some people like to balance both of those things. But ultimately, you are exchanging your time for money because that's what you want to give your time to, or that's what you need to give your time to, and then you get money in order for doing that. That's the switch. If you do not need to do that, why would you want to continue doing that? That's the question. Some people take on a lower stress job for less pay. And you know what? They're not wrong for doing that at all. So I've worked retail before. And when I was working retail, I was just doing regular cashier work. And while I was doing regular cashier work, eventually my boss said to me, hey, do you want to be a supervisor? And I said, what does that involve? And they were like, well, your responsibilities go up, this goes up, that goes up, you got to do this, you got to do that. And I said, okay, what's the pay increase? And the pay increase was like 20p an hour. I'm not even kidding. It was if you've worked retail, you know exactly what I'm on about. 20p an hour pay increase for the tiniest pay increase for like a major amount of responsibility increase. It was ridiculous. And I looked at it and I went, you know what, let's just do a trial for a bit. Let's do a trial, let's see what happens. So I trialed it for a while. And I'll be real, it sucked. It absolutely sucked. Because it was so much more work for so much little pay. And eventually, when they said, how are you feeling it? I said, I want to go back. I want to be demoted. I want to go back to doing regular work. And they couldn't understand that. The business were like, no, but you're a supervisor. Why do you want to not be a supervisor anymore? And I said, because do you have any idea how much more effort and stress and responsibility you're putting on someone for the tiniest amount of pay increase? This is not worth the extra stress. This is not worth the extra effort. You're asking me to be a key holder. You're asking me to come in early. You're asking me to stay late. You're asking me to do all the money checking. You're asking me to do... And I can do this. It's not that I'm incapable of doing the job. I just think that you're not paying me enough when I could just instead come in, work for 8 hours and go home and not have to worry about it. I think some people take job positions for the power instead of necessarily for the money.